In theaters now from Neon is the other nunsploitation film about a nun and the birth and the devil and demons and sinister and churchy stuff. Immaculate, starring Sydney Sweeney, who also produced this film. Apparently, she really wanted this film to get made and nobody was interested in doing it. And she was just like, okay, heck, I'm going to produce it and get this thing made. I'm glad she did because I really liked this movie. Now, I said in my review for The First Exorcist, if I wouldn't recommend doing what I did, which was to do a nunsploitation Devil Made Me Do It double feature and watch Immaculate immediately followed by The First Exorcist, because one of those movies, whatever you watch second, is going to suffer. But having watched the two, I thought Immaculate was the far better film. Set in Italy, it feels like a 70s Italian nunsploitation horror film. Now, First Exorcist was set in the early 70s and did a good job at recreating that. This film is set now, but it wasn't until like 3/4 of the way through the film that I was like, when does this movie take place? And it wasn't until somebody whipped out a cell phone that I really noticed that, oh, I guess this isn't set in the past. And it wasn't like it tries to be set in the past. It just doesn't have any of the trappings of a modern film, which is great. Stylistically, it doesn't have many trappings of a modern film. It doesn't do what I call everything I hate about modern horror. It feels like an older film. It's patient, it's creepy, it's not all jump scares. It does have gore. Oh boy, does it have gore. It has subtle nudity, nothing really too egregious, but it's a really well-made mind-bender creeper that keeps you wondering what exactly is going on in this film. So, I'm not going to tell you the whole story. Sydney Sweeney, aforementioned, stars as a young nun who goes to this whatever you want to call it, nunnery, place, cloister, I don't know, place where nuns go. She goes to a place where nuns go. It's all female nuns plus a couple of higher up male priests. And it's a place where they go to to look after sick nuns. So it's sort of like a hospital, sort of like a hospice, mental institution, whatever you want to call it. So there are moments with nuns behaving badly, shall we say. The score is really good in this film too, by the way. At one point they use a classic piece of score from a 1970s Italian horror film, courtesy of Four Flies Records, who I love. And I just loved that touch because it was just on point. I'm like, yes, you as a filmmaker, Michael Mohan, you really know what you're doing. You really know the genre that you're pulling from here. And again, the basic story is Sydney Sweeney is at this place. She comes from America. She is at a place where our nuns are being looked after. And she suddenly finds herself with child, never having known the touch of a man. And it becomes this mystery of how did this happen? What's going on? Is it bad or good that she's about to have a baby? Maybe you'd say, well, I guess if you're very religious, it could be a wonderful thing. But if you're not religious, you're like, oh, well, you know, kind of what's going on inside me here, because I never did the horizontal mambo. What's going on? So it's so well done. It stars, as I said, Sylvia Sweeney. Was it Sonia Braga? She was in The First Exorcist. I'm sorry, I get these movies, I keep calling it The First Exorcist. If at any point I said The First Exorcist, I mean The First Omen. I'll never talk about it again after this review, so I won't keep making that mistake. Casting is really good. It feels so authentically like a 70s horror film, and it is brutal, and it is creepy, and it is gross, and it is a total blast. I really enjoyed Immaculate. I would highly recommend seeing this in theaters while you can. Eventually it'll live its life on video, and you can do that double feature that I'm telling you not to do right now with The First Omen. But I highly recommend, if you like horror films, go see this in a theater. It's one of the better horror movies I've seen in a while, certainly this year. Immaculate.